The algebra of functions is going to take a look at how we can create a new function given two functions, and the way we create it is through operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. If f of x and g of x are two functions, we can define a new function by using the same operations we use with numbers. The first one is the sum. And these are just different ways that you can write up the sum of two functions. You can see it as just f plus g equals, you could also see it as in parentheses f plus g of x, or you could also see it as f of x plus g of x. The difference is subtraction, so you'll see f minus g is the same as in parentheses f minus g of x, and that's also equal to f of x minus g of x. The product means multiplication. We don't use an x for times for multiplication here because it gets too confusing with the variable. But sometimes you'll see a small dot between two functions. So you might see f and then the little times symbol, which is the dot, times g equals. More often, though, you won't even see that. When you see two functions right next to each other, that means multiplication. So if you see parentheses fg of x, that's f times g of x. And that's the same as saying f of x times g of x. Quotient means division, and we can see it as f divided by g, which is the same as saying f divided by g of x, which is also the same as saying f of x over g of x. And remember too that whatever the function is on the bottom, it can't be 0. In our case, g of x cannot be 0. Example 52 gives us two functions, f of x equals 3x plus 1 and g of x equals 2x squared minus 3. Evaluate each of the following. So we want to find f of 3. We've done this before. You go to the f function, you substitute in the number 3 everywhere there's an x. So 3 times, take out the x, and put in the number they're telling you to put in. So 3 times 3 plus 1, the number 10. If you're not great with arithmetic, please, please, please use your calculator and just type it in as you see it. So let me pull this up over here. So 3, parenthesis 3 plus 1. Okay. F plus g of 3. Well, going back to our definition of the sum, f plus g of 3 is the same as writing it as two separate functions, f of 3 plus g of 3. The 3 goes to both functions. We already know what f of 3 is equal to. F of 3, we found up from part A, was the number 10. So we have this is equal to 10 plus, and now I just need to figure out what's g of 3. So you go up here to the g function and substitute in the number 3 for x. So that's going to be 2 times 3 squared minus 3. And again, don't be shy about the calculator. 2 times 3 squared minus 3. Got 15. So f of 3 was 10, g of 3 was 15. Add those two numbers up, and we come up with an answer of 25. For part C, f times g of 3 is the same as f of 3 times g of 3. So our input number is 3, and we're going to see what we come out with when we multiply those two values together. We already know what f of 3 is from letter B and letter A. F of 3 was 10. G of 3, again we found from up here, was 15. The operation that we're doing is multiplication, so it's 10 times 15, or 150. And then for letter D, f divided by g of 3 is the same as f of 3, which we already found, divided by g of 3, which again we've already found. So f of 3 is 10, g of 3 is 15. We're going to leave it as an exact answer, but we're going to reduce the fraction. 5 will go into both 10 and 15, and it'll reduce down to 2/3. 5 goes into 10 twice, 5 goes into 15 3 times.